I asked a few times on what my take is on all the striking that's going on in Hollywood. And at first I felt I really didn't have anything to contribute to this conversation. Because, like, what am I going to say? It's people who are underpaid fighting for better pay and are being shit on by people who want to just keep more of the money for themselves at the expense of the people who provide them the service that makes them their money. For everybody not up to speed on what this is a bunch of the writers and actors in Hollywood are striking because they're paid like shit. And these are the people who write your favorite shows and movies. These are the supporting cast in your favorite shows and movies who aren't necessarily the marquee headliners, but are the people who make the marquee headliners' jobs possible and the people who make the entertainment that you consume so entertaining. And for every famous actor or writer in your favorite TV shows and movies that's raking in the big bucks and has their Hollywood Hills mansion, there are hundreds of cast and supporting staff and writers who are having to work multiple jobs to barely scrape by. And they shouldn't have to do that. So they are striking to say, we're not going to write for you, we're not going to act for you until you come back and negotiate better wages for us. And these big multi-billion-dollar Hollywood studios are just saying, go fuck yourself. We'll just replace you with AI. Because everybody who's used an AI chatbot knows that that's definitely the system you want writing and acting in all of your entertainment for you. And these studios are being so barbaric that they even chopped all the leaves off of the trees in their parking lot so the people striking couldn't even have any shade to stand in. And it's California. Have you been to Los Angeles? That fucking place is hot. Uncomfortably hot. The shit is literally barbaric. But at first, I felt like what I just said is all I had to say on this topic. And I didn't feel like I had any personal ties or special angles, and I try not to make content on hot-button issues simply to interject my opinion if my opinion or perspective doesn't bring something new to that conversation. But the more I thought about it, I did end up feeling a little bit more personally connected to this. And I also started to realize that this should really highlight a lot of other unionized labor forces that don't get the attention they deserve. I sort of came to this realization when an anonymous person reached out to me with some inside details on the behind-the-scenes people who work for UPS and how they're treated, and provided me with some exclusive pictures. The more I thought about this, the more I started to realize that I could, on a personal level, sympathize and empathize with the writers and actors who are striking. Creative work is often really undervalued by society. We all value the entertainment. We want to hear live music when we go out. We want to listen to our favorite podcasters and our favorite comedians. We like art from our favorite artists. We enjoy watching our favorite creators. These are the things that make our lives. These are the things that connect us with people and the world. These are the things that distract us from our miserable lives, and they teach us and they make us feel. So we definitely highly value the product of creativity, but we tend to undervalue the people whose creativity produced it. The live band you go to see at the bar, it's a great show, but that should be a hobby for them, a gig, a little extra cash. That's not something that they should be able to earn a living off of. Or, you got a supporting role or you were an extra in a big Hollywood film. Yeah, I absolutely loved that movie, and you should just be ecstatic that you got to be on set with Johnny Depp. That should be payment enough. It's not like being an extra or a minor supporting character is a real job you should be able to support yourself on. That's a gig. That's a hobby. It's a cool experience you can tell your friends about. The starving artist is a cliche for a reason. I probably always have sympathized with these people, but I've learned to empathize a little bit more because I'm in a more of an empathetic position now. Because now I'm spending a whole lot of my time doing creative work that makes somebody else a lot of money that I don't get paid enough for. I'm not trying to make this about me, though it's certainly starting to feel that way. But what I'm trying to get at is until you're in a similar position, it's easy to not think about the time that a person takes learning how to play that instrument to entertain you on Friday night. It's hard to comprehend the time and effort and emotional toll of actors who spend time improving their skills and going to auditions and getting rejected for auditions. It's hard to comprehend the amount of time and effort that your favorite podcasters and creators put into making the content that you sit here and scroll through every day or listen to on your drive home from work. I think it's just hard for a lot of people to connect the dots and empathize that because a lot of creative people's jobs seem fun and socially and personally rewarding, that there's still jobs that deserve a livable wage. I think that that's a huge problem as to why we've gotten where we've gotten and why so many people in the entertainment industry get taken advantage of, because a lot of them believe that about themselves. You got to pay your dues and this isn't a real job until you're successful and then it's a real job. But that's not the case. If you're doing something that provides value, you should be paid fairly for that value. And I think that these strikes are important on the grander scale because this is one of the first times that the behind the behind-the-scenes labor force unions are getting sort of the public recognition that they don't normally get. Back to UPS, you always hear about the drivers' strikes, but you know there's a lot more people that make UPS run than just the drivers. You've got the mechanics who keep the trucks running so the drivers have something to drive. And those mechanics, despite often being understaffed and having to work lots of overtime to keep up with demand, having a very specialized skill, and they have overhead, because a lot of people don't know this, but mechanics have to buy all of their own tools to do work for a company. These tools end up costing tens of thousands of dollars, and they get paid less than the drivers. But you don't hear about it because there's fewer of them, and it's harder for the public to relate to their job, so the unions don't spend as much time fighting for those wage raises. This isn't just UPS, it's pretty much any fleet service. And there's the backroom workers at places like UPS, the people who sort the boxes and make sure that the right packages get on the right truck. Those people are understaffed and overworked and expected to do way too much.
And as a result, the staff is required to keep up a breakneck pace that they can't keep up with. Boxes pile up, creating an unsafe working environment where they get injured often, and this is the slow season, gets way worse during the holidays.
And once again, these people do not get the union support and the public support and the headlines, and they suffer as a result. All of these people are the supporting actors and the writers of all of the other industries that make our world go round. What I'm saying is, yes, you should absolutely support the writers and the actors strikes and the UPS strikes and the railroad strikes and all the strikes that are going on. But you should also support and vote to strengthen unions, because even if you're not a part of one, even if it's not your industry or your job that's walking the picket lines or fighting the fight right now, it still affects you. Because every time unions win better pay, better benefits, better working conditions, you get better service. And then pretty soon you too get better pay and better working conditions and better benefits. Because remember, weekends and the 40-hour work week and paid holidays and holiday pay and overtime and unemployment insurance and disability insurance and child labor laws, all the things that make your job a little bit more bearable and your life a little bit better when it comes to your employment, is all thanks to union wins that you were probably never a part of. Rising tide lifts all boats. If you were fighting against somebody else getting better pay, better benefits, better working conditions, you're fighting against those things for yourself. You're fighting against your kids and your grandkids getting better pay, better benefits, and better working conditions. So vote labor, vote union, support people getting the pay, the benefits, and the working conditions they want for their job like it was your job. Because even when it's not your job on the negotiating table, your job is still on that negotiating table. Y'all-a-darity.